Kidding? Just one shot?
They're not all zombies, Doug. How do you fight this thing?
Maybe we could drown it in A1 sauce.
Well, sometimes that is better. The person you put up there ain't the person that comes back.
It's a dance song to get down with. About 6 feet under. Get there.
Ooh, I love this song.
And now we come to the thrilling final episode of our radio drama.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Rotten Reviews podcast. On tonight's podcast, we are talking the 1987 tiny monster movie, Munchies. I've only watched this movie, I think, twice. I enjoy it much more on this time around. It's a little plot of the movie. Simon Waterman, a space archaeologist, discovers the Munchies in a cave in Peru. Cecil Waterman, Simon's evil twin brother and snack food entrepreneur, kidnaps the creature. What Cecil does not know is that the creature, when chopped up, regenerates into many new creatures. And are they mean? Watching this movie, I had no idea that they were twin brothers. Not till the end of the movie when I think Cecil mentioned something to Paul, the son, about him being his nephew. Other than that, I had no idea. Maybe the stupid porno mustache and big hair threw me off. I don't really know. I had no idea. No idea until I just read that synopsis and plot summary. The tagline is, though,
They're cute, they're colly, and they're out for blood.
Director Tina Hirsch also edited similar movies such as Airplane 2, Dante's Peak, and the very similar movie Gremlins, both small tiny monsters. If you gremlin after midnight or get him wet, he multiplies. You chop these little bastards up and they multiply. So I guess there's kind of similarities in that, both small monster movies, of course. I had to redo my notes a little bit though, because I could have swore in the version that I watched that they were calling the son Cole and they're calling the girl Susie. No, on IMDb it's Paul and Cindy. So I had to go through my notes and re-switch everything around. It sucks, but whatever, it had to be done. So pretty much we'll get right into the movie. Also, it has like I think a 4 out of 10 on IMDb. I didn't check the other ratings at all because I just didn't feel like it. That, you know how I run things. We're at like episode, I don't know, 45 or maybe even farther in. I don't really know because I really don't check things. So yeah, if you're not used to the way I run the ship, you will be soon enough. Soon enough, my friends. So we'll get right into the movie.
Sweetwater, a new and inviting desert community.
Violation! This is gonna be a great day.
Filled with kind and loving families.
But I am your stepson.
Oh, no, I always treated you like you was, didn't I?
Oh.
With mature and responsible teenagers. And then, one day...
Did you hear something?
Something odd appeared.
Paul, this is incredible.
Exactly what they are is uncertain.
I'm South American cockroach, Dad. I'm out of here.
Their origins are somewhat hazy.
It's an alien.
Maybe an illegal alien.
And while their manner can be quite charming,
He's so cute. Can't we take him out of the bag now?
their habits can be a little bizarre.
Paul, not so rough.
I haven't done anything yet.
Gross.
But you'd better treat them right.
You're not laughing anymore, are you, pal?
Because they're not necessarily nice.
Munchies.
Here, kitty. What is that?
What are they?
I'm sure that thing's a cat. Murder?
No one kills more tropical fish and live.
I'm on the case!
Just dropped in for a bite. Munchies, starring Harvey Korman, from the creator of Little Shop of Horrors. Munchies.
starts out with a kid who we find out is Paul. He's recording his 6-week archaeologist dig with his dad. We never see the mom, but he's pretty much recording as if he's like a prisoner on another planet, and this is going to be his life, and he's pretty much screwed for the rest of his life, or for the 6 week, because it's going to act like his whole lifetime. But he's also like he's not a kid, he's like teenager, so he's definitely overreacting, mainly because he wants to probably go see his girl Cindy. Yeah, that's her name, right? Anyways, his family pretty much goes around digging up asteroids that fall, or maybe some dinosaur bones. I don't know. They're digging it in this cave, though. I didn't know it was Peru, but apparently it is. And there's a bunch of like wall art, and someone reads the cave drawings on the walls and literally tells them to beware. But all the dad is like, so is there anything about space travel and aliens on that wall, or is it just telling me to beware of death and havoc and all that kind of fun stuff? The dad is admiring the stonework, and he believes that aliens are the only ones that could cut the stones in the shapes that they are, and that they use laser beams to do so. Which I'm looking at the stones is very Mayan-esque artwork. It's definitely very detailed and very even. So yeah, it could have been a laser. Maybe they're just 3D printed stones for all I know. Also, while looking in this cave, Paul is scared of everything, and like the sound of a rat or creature moving in the darkness. He says, like, if that's an oversized cockroach, I'm out. I'm not doing it. Dad, you're on your own. You can do it yourself. I'm not going near the oversized Peru cockroach. Just not doing it. I've seen a lot of them in New Jersey and other places. I'm not doing it. But yeah, they find this little guy in the corner. He's a little tiny monster who's wearing this like Ewok style looking trench coat for a small person, and they call the little guy either Nico or Amigo because that's like the sound he makes. And then Paul, I forgot to switch one name in my notes. It still said Cole. Paul goes to find something to put the little guy in, and all he can find is his dirty gym bag. And Dad's like, well, it's going to contaminate the subject, but hopefully he survives from the smell of your dirty socks and underwear. And Paul's just like, whatever. It happens. And then the dad also takes a sample of this green glowing liquid that's on the ground. He's like, probably toxic waste. We're just going to put this in this glass vial that we got with no gloves on, with no tongs, no nothing. If it gets on my hand and I lose my hand, it's no big deal. It's just some toxic waste. It'll be fine. But yeah, they get the little alien into the duffel bag, and they get ready to leave, and then the title graphic comes up, and it's like the title graphic of Munchies comes up and slowly being eaten away, which I thought was a really nice effect and look to it. And then we had this fast-paced beat style music popping up, which gave me the Gremlins vibe for sure. Then they show up at the airport, just the two of them, and well, they also had the little alien as well in the duffel bag, which apparently they took as a carry-on because they're carrying him right off the plane. They didn't have to go to luggage or anything to grab him. Yeah, which is probably rightfully so, because if they had a little alien in the undercarriage of the airplane with all their storage, he'd probably be dead, because he'd probably just get tossed around because he's just in a duffel bag. And then we meet Cindy. She's picking up the guys. She seems to be Paul's lady, and then on the drive she's asking what's in the bag because she can hear it making sounds. Of course, she's speeding down this desert road, and the cop hits her with the speeding radar, and then she gets pulled over. It honestly seems like it's the cop's first day on the job, because he forgets his like ticket book in the car when he's getting ready to walk up to the trio. We find out his name is Eddie, and he's in charge of the police station for the moment, because his dad, Ed Sr., or Big Ed, is at a riot convention, I believe, of sorts. And this just goes to show you how small the town is, because Eddie knows everyone in the car, because he even asked the doc, he's like, so did you find any space aliens on your adventure? And they're just like, no, didn't find anything at all. Nope, no aliens at all, don't look in the back. Then they finally make it home, and we see someone from across the road using this long-ass telescope to spy on them as they're getting out of the car and getting ready to go inside their house. They're now inside the home, and we see that same neighbor. He's also got the house wired, because he's got these giant headphones on, and he's actually listening to them talk inside their own house, because he's that much of a creep. Cindy wants to take the alien out of the bag, but the dad says no. She thinks he's cute and is feeding him all this various junk food, and she goes to give him the name of Munchie, the name for the movie. But Paul's like, no, you can't call him Munchie. You gotta call him something more original, like Arnold. I don't know where Arnold came from, but that's what he wants to call him, so we'll go with it. Then we find out that the dad is going to stay at a hotel because he's going to see some special lecture, I guess, or seminar. I'm not really too sure what it's about, some science seminar. Then he's like, I bet you can't stay here and babysit the alien, Cole, and if you do, I'll support you in your wanting to go to LA to be a comedian. The dad's totally against him going to LA. He wants him to stay home and do like a college somewhere around there, because apparently LA is like New Jersey, just with earthquake. That's his definition of LA. It's like New Jersey, but it's got earthquake. But yeah, the dad makes a deal with Paul. If he can stay home one night, he will help him move to LA so he can start his career. Then we see the dad is leaving, and then Cecil, the neighbor who's been spying on them, comes over to talk to him because he's trying to get the dad to sell his share of land for some reason. I had no idea until reading the plot that they're apparently supposed to be twin brothers, because they look nothing alike. Like I said, it could be the fake hair and mustache, could be throwing me off. I don't really know, but I had no idea that they were even related whatsoever, because there's no signs of this until later on when Cecil talks to Paul about him being his nephew. Just weird. Paul is showing Arnold, the Munchie, how to use the TV remote. When he turns on the TV, we see a commercial that's starring, of course, the neighbor Cecil, because apparently every commercial on this TV is a commercial that Cecil is promoting. Then in the neighbor's house, Cecil's house, his stepson, who just goes by the name Dude, that's literally what he's titled as, is Dude, comes up and asks him for $500 for the weekend, while the whole time he's playing hacky sack while asking for the money. And Cecil just gets so annoyed. I mean, he just starts slapping around, and then he literally knees him right in the crotch, because he doesn't want to give him money. He doesn't like Dude at all. He cares about his tropical fish more than he cares about Dude, which we'll find out later on in the movie. Then Dude has some headphones hooked up and to his record player. He's listening to a record, and Cecil like scratches the record to get Dude's attention, and he's pretty much like telling Dude, you're gonna help me get whatever it is that Simon has inside that house, and if you don't, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble. I will kill you. And Dude just thinks he's joking about it, and he doesn't really realize that the whole time Cecil's talking to him, Cecil's taking the cord from the headphones and wrapping it around the Dude's throat, and he doesn't realize it at all. We just keep seeing him go around and around and around. And then we see Cecil and Dude sneaking outside Simon and Paul's house. Paul's busy getting it on with Cindy. That's when we see the bed sheets start to move, and it's actually Arnold sneaking into the bottom of the bed, and Cindy's like, oh, not so rough, and it's actually Arnold trying to scratch his way up. Paul gets mad at him and tells him to go back downstairs to watch TV. We then see Arnold in the kitchen going through all the cupboards, eating whatever he finds and throwing the rest out on the wall or on the floor or wherever. Cecil and the Dude come in to grab Arnold, but Arnold escapes like behind the stove. So then they use this string with some food on the end of it to lure him over, and he just like follows them over, and they put a blue garbage bag over top of him, and we can just tell that it's just a puppet getting dragged across the kitchen floor, but I still love it. I like the design of the Munchies altogether. I think they're a fun design. Then Paul asks Cindy if she wants to play doctor, and that's when he whacks her with a giant blow up hammer that you get at like a carnival or a fair. I don't know why he's got that beside his bed or hidden underneath his bed, but whatever works for you, I guess. And then we're back at Cecil's, and they take Arnold out of the bag, and he calls them a goof, and that's when Dude's like to Cecil, oh, you guys know each other, huh? That's really cool, dude. Then the stepdad pulls out a gun on Dude and tells him to watch Arnold or he's dead. So Cecil does not care for Dude at all. He's already tried to choke him with a headphone cord, and he's already pulled a gun out on him. So that's just the family dynamic between those two. Arnold goes to turn the TV on Dude, and Dude gets mad and throws him up against the wall. So then Arnold takes one of the pool walls that's in the same room and starts whacking Dude in the back of the head. Then he starts throwing records at him as well. And then Dude goes to whack Arnold with a poo stick, and then Arnold, his teeth and claws start to grow, and he's getting mad. So then Dude grabs a gun and starts to load it up. At this point, Arnold they're in like the kitchen now, and Arnold grabs like a fondue fork and literally throws it at the Dude's leg and gets him right above the knee. And that's when Dude blasts him in the chest with like a shotgun. He literally starts taking like a kitchen knife and chopping him up. That's when we first see that if they get cut in half, they start to multiply. Then we see Cecil driving back after picking up his wife. I think her name is Mavis or Melvis or something. I don't really care. She's a ditwit and she plays the character very well. I'm gonna give it that to her for sure. That's when I actually clued in that her son's name is Dude, because she's asking how Dude is doing, which I just, boy, you're a creative person. He's also adopted, so maybe that's why Cecil doesn't like him as much. Back at their house, though, we now see multiple Arnolds. They're like in the gremlin mode, and they're getting angry as they multiply, or each one that multiply has a different attitude and personality, which come into play later on. Paul and Cindy are then looking around the house to find where Arnold may be, because they lost him, and Cindy's like pulling the couch apart, and she's like, oh, I'm just looking where I always lose my keys, and maybe he's there. And they start panicking, so they go outside and they start yelling for Arnold, but there's no success, of course. And then they hear a gunshot at the neighbor's house, so they go over to check. We see a bunch of Munchies. They look like they're on the roof, but they're on like the roof of a garbage little shed area. And they're shooting at the various things like flamingos on the lawn and whatnot. Paul goes to put a garbage can on top of the Munchies, and he's all excited because he puts the garbage can on top of them. He's like, yeah, I caught them. And he walks away, but they still have the gun, so they use the gun to blow up the garbage can. And then they jump into I don't know if it's a gremlin or a pinto, but all of them, I think there's like 4 or 5 of them, jump into the gremlin and pinto and drive away, which causes Paul and Cindy having to give chase on them, and then her like convertible Jetta. One of the Munchies is actually smoking, and the other one tells him, you gotta stop, you're gonna give us all cancer. And then we see Paul and Cindy are speeding after them, and Eddie, the cop from earlier, pulls them over again. And Paul tries to tell Eddie that yellow car is full of Ruskies, and we gotta stop them. They're spies, and they're gonna blow up Golfland. You gotta go keep Golfland safe. And Eddie falls for it. He doesn't ask any questions about it. He's like, Ruskies, I gotta go save my country. I gotta go save Golfland, because they're going to blow up the mini-putt golf area. They can't do that. And then at one point, we see Cecil and his wife driving back, and they drive in this food truck, or panel truck, which is his snack company. Anyways, she's got a magazine that she's reading on in the passenger seat, which actually has gremlins on the back of it, which I thought was a nice little Easter egg. And then we cut to the Munchies driving like maniacs, and they're shooting at various things, and they start messing with this old lady who's driving this like Cuda, or I'm not sure, I think a Plymouth of some sort. I didn't really get too close attention, but she gets pissed off, and she has like cherry bombs sitting in her front seat, and then she starts throwing them on the hood of the Pinto and start blowing them up. And then there's this one point where they start playing chicken with each other, and they scare her out, and she runs out of the car, and next thing you know, they're shooting her car, and they literally blow it up, and she's so pissed off. She's a crazy old lady, but she's a fun little character for the little bit of time that she is in the movie.
Gonna take that from no American Motors car.
Head for the hills, mama.
Crazy punks, let them have guns.
Like it? Let's go, man.
You're gonna pay for this, you three.
And then we have Cecil and his wife driving around in the panel truck for whatever reason. I really don't know why I don't know why they don't have a normal car. But I think they had like a pink Cadillac at one point. Unless that's the other guy, the doctors. But they finally make it home, and outside their house they see it's trashed because of the gunshot and the garbage can and everything. So they go inside and they see the house is worse, and they see everything's wrecked, and they see dude sitting in the chair, and the mom's like, is he dead? And Cecil just looks at him and is like, sure, it looks like it. Such a shame. And then Cecil looks over at his tropical fish tank, and he's like, son of a bitch that killed my fish. I don't care about the boy that killed my fish. Nobody messes with my tropical fish. Then we cut to the Munchies coming up behind this group of bikers. They're not like badass bikers. They're like on dirt bikes and stuff like that, and they start honking at them, move out of the way, and once they finally get past them, they swerve in front of them all, and they cause them to all drive off a bridge into this little lake, which is really stupid what Paul and Cindy do, because they stop and Cindy's like, which way did they go? Obviously they went the way that you are going because you would have passed them. Why are you asking? It's a small road. If they were coming at you, you would have saw it. Don't ask stupid questions. Just don't. But yeah, Paul and Cindy, they stop back at the mini golf course to check in on Eddie, who's guarding it, and then Cecil pulls up pissed off because his condo was trash, and we find out that Eddie is the only officer working and that he actually like graduated police school with honors and the highest marks, which I find very, very scary. But it's a small town. That's when we also find out that his dad's at this like riot lecture, and then we cut to a scene where the Munchies are pulling up to this lake where two girls are swimming, and they start doing donuts in the sand to impress the girls, and then upon doing one donut, the passenger door opens up and a bunch of the Munchies jump out into the water and they start grabbing the girl's bathing suit and, causing havoc. And then that's when Paul and Cindy show up, and Paul jumps in the water and starts taking a baseball bat to them, and he thinks Arnold's in this pipe because he's still trying to get Arnold because he thinks Arnold's the only good one, and he's just being bad because the other one's around. He's looking down this tunnel and he's like, come on Arnold, I know this beady eye's anywhere. And it actually happens to be a skunk walking out at him. But the Munchies do make it out of the exhaust pipe or the drain pipe. They come out to this ice cream shop where this little kid's setting off fireworks outside. And he goes to do like the E.T. finger touch. And that's when his mom comes out screaming because she sees these little monsters. And they try to bite his finger afterwards. Then they start crashing the ice cream shop. And then we cut to Cecil and his wife. She's changing one of the tires, or the dually tires on the back of the truck, and he's just sitting in the truck, and he's like, what took you so long? She's like, well, it would have been faster if we had a jack. Like, wait, so you're telling me you took that tire off and you held that truck up by yourself while he's still sitting in the truck? Sure, we'll go with it. Why not? There's no logic. It's fine. It's totally fine. Then we see Paul and Cindy. They're pulling up to the exact ice cream shop that was getting trashed because apparently it's a little town in the desert and there's not much to go because they're actually showing up there to actually get some ice cream. And then that's when they notice the place is trashed, and then Paul goes inside, and that's when the owner Bob comes out of the freezer because that's where they're hiding. He's like, oh, you're gonna loot me, huh? And he goes to attack Paul, but that's when one of the Munchies actually jumps on the back of Bob and starts like gnawing away at his shoulder. And then they run out of the ice cream shop and head back into the drain tunnel again. Bob doesn't want to go to the hospital at all. He keeps saying he's fine. He's like, oh, I've gone through worse. I've been mauled by a bear at Yellowstone Park. But every time he's talking, he just like passes out for 2 seconds and then repeats the same story again. He's like, no, I'm fine. I don't need it. No, I'm fine. I don't need it. And just, yeah. Bob, just go to the hospital. You've lost a lot of blood apparently because you're already passing out and you're probably going to die soon. And then we see a commercial by Cecil again where he's trying to build a mall because he thinks building a mall will keep the kids out of trouble. I don't know where you get that logic from, but whatever works for you, I guess, buddy. And then I don't know how this happens, but Paul figures out that if the Munchies get cut in half, they multiply. He's reading it in some book, but I don't know where the book came from. Maybe it's a book that his dad had at home. I'm not too sure. Then we see the Munchies playing around. A couple are having like this pirate fight. One's falling down a waterfall. One's getting shot out of the air while riding balloons. I'm not sure if they're at the mini putt area before it opens up or not. I don't really know the context of that one. And then we see Eddie and Ed Sr. or Big Ed break down Cecil's door. And Ed's dad is still in full rag gear from the seminar or lecture. And then Cecil's like, why'd you break down the door? And Big Ed's like, well, your place is trash anyway, so I didn't think it really would matter. Then Paul comes in with Cindy and tries to tell Cecil that he found out stuff about the Munchies, but Cecil doesn't want to hear a thing about it. And he's like, I'm too busy. I gotta go to my ribbon cutting for my mini golf putt place. And then we cut to there, and he's created the first 36-hole miniature golf course, I guess. And then everyone's runs in to have a good time, but then the Munchies are being creeps and watching from the bushes, and then they start attacking people here and there. One kid like breaks into a vending machine to get some free food on the first day of the opening, and the Munchies are already inside the vending machine, so they start biting them. And then Bob and his family are still in their ice cream getup, and they're getting ready to play some golf. And then Bob starts getting attacked by Munchies again, and Bob's just got bad luck. Then Paul and Cindy show up at the golf course, and a bunch of people are starting to run out scared for their lives, and Cecil gets mad at Big Ed and Eddie, because they're just playing miniature golf and not paying attention to everyone screaming and running out of the thing. It's like, oh wow, this is going to be really good. We got the place to ourselves now. Like, no, idiots. They're running away because something's starting to attack them. Maybe you should do something about it. Then the Munchies start throwing golf balls from this windmill putt hole, and they start hitting Cecil and Ed Junior and Senior and all that kind of crap. And then Cecil gets all pissed off and takes hedge trimmers to start cutting the Munchies in half, even though Paul's telling him not to. And then he's like, I know what to do. And then while he's doing this, the Munchies are like saying thank you because they want to multiply. I guess they can't force themselves to get cut on their own. They need someone to do it for them. I guess they're not emo enough. Too soon now? Nothing. Let's just avoid that. And then Cecil orders Ed to arrest Paul and Cindy because for whatever reason he just doesn't want to listen to them because they know what's going on and he doesn't want to have any help in the matter, I guess. Cindy then convinces Ed to turn the police car around instead of taking them in because they're all riding in the front seat together. God forbid anyone be in the back seat of the cop car because they are supposed to be arrested and being taken to the police station, but whatever. But yeah, they pull up at this video store where the Munchies are trashing the place, and Paul uses this giant Clint Eastwood cutout as a shield and pushes one of the Munchies back, and when he pushes him back, he smashes into a TV screen and goes right through it, and the electricity actually turns the Munchie into stone, so that's their one weakness. Electricity makes them go back into stone statues, even though we don't see them as a stone statue originally anyways. Then we cut to Paul, Cindy, and Eddie. They're heading down into this underground tunnel system because that's apparently where the trail for the Munchies went. Eddie screams for his life because he has his like tarantula crawling up his back, and then we cut to a scene of the and this is a weird scene. Okay, apparently Cecil owns this burger joint, and there's a dick of a manager, and all the other employees are, I don't know the proper term, dwarves, midgets, small people. I don't want no slack for this because I technically don't know what the proper term is. Short people, I guess, would be the most proper way to say it. Oompa Loompas would probably not be the proper way to say it, but that's the first thing that I thought when I saw it, because it's a bunch of little people cleaning the cooking utensils and the burners and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's just weird. Anyway, Cecil pulls up to the drive-thru to try ordering, but this time he doesn't see that all those many people, small people, dwarves, whatever you might want to call them, are running out the back door. And then we see the manager's on the floor and his feet are getting dragged away as he's getting killed by the Munchies. Cecil goes inside to see why no one's helping him with his order, and then the lights go out, and by the time the lights come back on, Cecil's pants from his knees down are all shredded up to pieces from the Munchies. Eddie gets scared in the tunnels. Ed Jr. He gets scared by the sound, and he goes to run away and literally runs into the stone wall and knocks himself out. Cindy's trying to wake him up, and she's like, I'll marry you. We'll go on a date. We'll do some stuff together. We'll get engaged. Anything to wake you up? And he doesn't move an eye at all. So then she leaves Eddie on the ground, and then the Munchies start chasing after her. We then see Cecil and the group riding the elevator down to the tunnels. They get to the bottom, and the door opens, and that's when Cecil sees Cindy running at him, so he just hits the emergency button to close the door. And then she has to use the safety ladder on the side to climb up the elevator shaft, which I thought maybe she was going all the way up, but apparently she just stops at this next floor up. And then the Munchies cut the power on the elevator, and then Cecil, Ed Jr., or Ed Sr., and Cecil's wife are all stuck in the elevator. We are now in this warehouse factory above the tunnels, or that is connected to the tunnels, and the Munchies are all eating all the snacks and random crap in the building. Paul runs to start playing with the power lines in the building, takes this axe and starts setting up traps to kill the Munchies. Cindy has then locked herself into this room, but one of the Munchies stays behind and literally starts chewing at the wall to get to her. But then we see Paul, he takes the emergency axe because his wire open, and then a bunch of the Munchies are staying on top of this conveyor belt, and Paul sticks electricity to the belt, which actually causes the three of them, I think there's 3 of them on top of the alternate stone statues, and then he starts smashing them just for good measure so they don't come back alive, because maybe if they get wet with water they'll come back alive. I don't know, maybe they get hit with electricity again, they'll come back back left. I don't know. And then we see Cindy coming out of the room after she's taking a shovel to that other Munchie's head, because he eats through the door, or the wall I should say, and he kind of sticks his head through and he's like talking to her, and she literally takes a shovel right to his face. I don't know if it kills him or not, but it definitely knocks him silly for a while. Yeah, it actually doesn't kill him, because he must be the one that attacks Paul in this very scene, because Cindy runs up to Paul, and that's when Paul starts to wrestle with this other ghoulie, and he starts throwing him around until he actually grabs a wire, and it can electrify the ghoulie. Did I say ghoulie? Did I just say ghoulie? I feel like I said ghoulie. Anyways, he's wrestling with the Munchie, and he turns him into stone, and he keeps the last statue, because he's like, well, I should take something back to Dad to show him my failure, because I can't watch a little alien monster, so, I guess this is what it is. We then see Cecil and the other two still stuck in the elevator. That's when Ed Jr. wakes up, and he hears his dad and Cecil in the elevator, and they're yelling at him, to hit the red button on the side to open up the door, and Junior's like, I don't see no button, and Cecil's like, it's on the other side, you idiot. So he finally gets the door open. That's when then Paul finds some paper that leads to the information of him finding out that I think Cecil's company is called like Cow Snacks, is made with toxic waste and other garbage throughout the city, and that's when we also find out that Paul is Cecil's nephew, because that's the only time we actually hear it, because Cecil's like, no, just hush, you're my nephew, you'll inherit the company because dude's dead, so it's all going to you once I die. And Cecil doesn't want anything, or Paul doesn't want anything to do with it. That's when Ed Sr. arrests Cecil and his wife for putting the town people in danger with the toxic waste from their food, because apparently everyone eats cow snack. That's probably why there's next to no one in the town, or you have stupid people like Bob. That's just me going for a guess. And then we see we have this scene where Eddie's telling Paul, if you want to get into the police force, I'll put a good word in for you at school. I got honors and high grades, I'm pretty well known around there, so if you want help getting in, I'll get you in. And then he's just like, I'm good. That's when Paul goes to talk to his dad and explain what happened to Arnold, and shows him that he's a statue now, essentially, or it might not be Arnold, it's just one of them is a statue. That's when the doctor there's Paul's dad brings home this scientist to show him Arnold, and literally he shows him the statue of it, and the scientist is all excited. He's like, I'll give you $25,000 for this right now. I'll give it right now. I don't need to look at it and to make sure it's official or anything. I don't need to make sure that it's not fake or anything. I'll just give you $25,000 right now. And they're like, all right, cool. And then we find out that apparently the toxic waste dumping that they found was something that's never been found ever before. So now they're calling Machu Picchu is apparently a toxic waste alien dumping zone. So Paul's dad gets all excited about that, and apparently you can do more stays on that. And then we see the final scene of the movie is the scientist driving away in his truck. He has the statue of Arnold in the back of it. Literally just like tosses it in the back, doesn't secure it, doesn't strap it down or anything. We just see the statue of it, and we see the sky turning purple, and then thunder starts rolling in, and then we see lightning hit the statue, and then we just hear Arnold talking again, and that's the end of the movie. So yeah, that was a fun movie. I enjoyed that movie a lot. Not gonna lie, I enjoy it a lot more this time around than I remember originally watching it. So we're gonna change up the rotten meter. I'm probably gonna do like a graphic for it or something. It's gonna be out of 10 now. It's not gonna be a scale, it's gonna be an actual meter. On the rotten meter for this movie, out of 10, I would honestly I'm gonna give it a 6.5. I do enjoy it a lot. I know I didn't talk about much, but a lot of the Munchies, once the first one gets slashed, the other ones have their own personalities and their own attitudes and their own voice, which I thought was really cool. They're not as detailed as like Gremlins are or Gizmo is. But yeah, they still look fun and cool. Some of the scenes with them in it, it's just wacky. You can tell it's just a static puppet getting thrown around or tossed around. There's not much animatronics to it. At least it doesn't look like there is, but it's still really fun and an enjoyable movie, and I would definitely recommend it. You can watch it for free on Tubi TV. That's where I watch it. Of course, it's free with ads. It's not that bad though. You can't complain with a little bit of ads. It's just like watching TV, so it's kind of fun. There's a bunch of free movies on Tubi. I definitely highly recommend checking it out. It's free to download. You don't need a create account. If you want a create account to create your watch list and all that kind of stuff, you can. I would definitely recommend it. So which brings us to our next movie that we should watch. I actually had to figure that one out. Alright, after a hard debate and looking at my list so far on Tubi, we're going to watch a movie from, I think it's 1986. Yeah, 1986. Is an hour and 42 minutes long. It's free to watch with ads on Tubi. It's about a Ouija board. Or we should say it's about a witch board, because that's the title of the movie. We're going to watch Witchboard. Yeah, I said it. So I've never watched it, so it's gonna be a first time watch. I actually listened to a podcast on it a couple days ago. It's not a great movie by the sounds of it. It's a decent movie. But yeah, it's the shout out to the Neon Brainiacs, their podcast. You can check them out on Spotify. That's where I found out about this movie, and they watch a lot of movies through Tubi, so I definitely highly recommend checking Tubi out. I can't say enough about it. You know, it's a free app. It's got a bunch of movies that you're not going to find on other streaming sites, which is nice. The only other streaming site or service that might be as good as Tubi, or obviously better, would be Shudder. But yeah, if Shudder wants to sponsor me, and I'd be okay with that. But yeah. Anyways, until next time, make sure to follow me on all social medias at Typhonstein. Use the hashtag Rotten Reviews Podcast. Suggest some movies to me. I would love to hear what you want me to watch, what you want me to review. We got some new artwork coming out. We got new videos coming out on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all the majors. TikTok if you really want to. I wouldn't, but that's I got to try and hit up every social media kind of platform just to try and grow the brand. But yeah, I'd love to hear your feedback and hear from you guys. And as always, check out Slasher Dave on Instagram and Spotify, because there'll be some music by him at the end of this clip, or end of this podcast, I should say. I don't know which song I'm going to put up yet. I should probably pick the song beforehand, but I don't, because I don't do that much planning ahead of time. But I'll leave the title of the song in the show notes below, as well as his links and all my links as well. I might leave a link to Neon Brainiacs as well for a shout out for their podcast, because they do a lot of fun episodes, and they're up to, I don't know, close to 200 episodes, I think. I could be wrong. I didn't really check. I've been starting at the bottom, working my way up. So I definitely highly recommend checking them out. Guys, support fellow horror fans and horror creators, such as myself. But now I'm going to shut up and stop rambling. So I'll talk to you guys.
Oh, later. Peace.